Hello and welcome back to another episode of E-commerce Joe. In today's episode, I speak with entrepreneur Taz Johnson. Taz is an entrepreneur that's around 2 years into her journey, and she's at a very important moment in the journey. She's about to move her business from working from home to going to a dedicated office. We speak about all of the ups and downs of the journey so far. It's a great interview and I hope you enjoy it. So Taz, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
That's okay. For the benefit of the millions and billions of people that are going to be watching this, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Taz. I have an eco-friendly B2B packing side, and I also have a B2C like greetings cards and stickers, and I guess that kind of crosses over where the stickers are for small businesses. Like a lot of the Etsy sellers use me. They're also 100% recycled, so they fit quite nicely. And then as they grow, they sort of start moving to my B2B product because of the quantities that they can buy them at.
And for the benefit of anyone who's completely not familiar with all the business terms, what is B2B? What is
the
B2C?
Business to business side, so like other small businesses, or I guess medium-sized businesses as well, and business to consumer, so the greetings cards and the weddings. I do a lot of wedding kits as well, but obviously with last year, not so many weddings. They're just picking back up again. But I know that some business to business people use my wedding stuff, like florists, where they are packaging confetti.
Okay.
Floral confetti.
So you've got an online business that sells B2B, so you sell packaging to other businesses, and then you've got a B2C, which is business to customer or business to consumer side.
Yeah.
And what do you sell to those people?
Greetings cards, or like my favorite one-star Amazon review, a folded piece of paper with print on it. Which has actually started a whole range, a whole collection, and went viral over Valentine's Day.
That's fantastic. That's so good. How long into your business was it until you got that review?
It was one of my very first Amazon reviews.
How did you feel? Did it make you want to stop? I mean, clearly.
It did actually, but it was quite new. And I think that's why a lot of sellers, especially handmade sellers, don't like Amazon, is because the way that the consumer can review your product, and you put a lot of yourself into this product, you're actually physically manufacturing this product and giving it to somebody, and they are turning around and saying it's rubbish. But actually, once you can see the funny side of it, it's actually, I mean, like, it is true. It's a folded piece of paper with print on it. I mean, like, you couldn't get more accurate than what the consumer has said. So just go with it. Yeah.
I mean, that's what a card is, right? I mean, and so you mentioned Amazon and handmade. So is that the primary, are you an Amazon handmade seller? Do you have a Shopify store?
I only just launched my own WooCommerce store built on WordPress, because before this, I happened to be a WordPress web developer.
And I asked you about this, didn't I? Because I noticed in your footer, you tell people not to ask you to build the website. Do you get many people that ask you that?
I do, and I still have some leftover clients, and I have just told the last client that I will find them a new developer. Because basically, as a web developer, you have a glass ceiling. There's only so much you can ever earn. There's only so many units you can do. Like, you can only build a certain number of websites a year, a month, even with a team.
So that brings me nicely on to what was it that actually made you start this, I suppose, online journey? And before we go into that, when I asked you to take part in this, you told me that your business was a joke.
It was.
What do you mean?
So basically, I used to own a co-working space with my partner. I found some paper on the shelf in the co-working space, and I was a print and web designer. So I was like, I'm just going to make some folded pieces. They weren't folded, actually. They were postcards. Because it was cheaper for half a piece of paper than it was for a folded piece of paper.
Okay.
So I printed some and I started like a little Etsy store and didn't think much of it. And then it kind of started growing a little bit. About a year after that, because I had two kids at this point. A year after that, number 3 arrived. She was planned. And just because I had 2 boys, I wasn't trying for a girl. And so that was a year after. And I was like, actually, I can't be a web developer anymore because you need the headspace. My partner, James, was working away a lot. I was basically going to be a stay-at-home mom. So I was like, I'm just going to do this full time. I think I'd only made like maybe 1,500 sales on Etsy at this point. I hadn't made very much.
Is that 1,500 units or 1,500 pounds? Okay.
1,500 units.
That's quite a lot. So you sold 1,500 cards over how many months?
I think it was like a year, maybe.
Okay.
So just
for a joke that you started.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
like I googled.
Cool.
So when I had to come up with the logo, I googled shit hipster logo. And if you look at my logo, you can basically see that that's what it is. Now that I pointed it out, and now I'm stuck with it because yeah.
So you made the business as a joke. Did you, when you had these cards, I suppose, like what's the process with actually putting them on Etsy? So you just say to Etsy, look, we're selling handmade cards, and then someone orders your design?
It's just like eBay. You just sign up, you take a photo. I had no idea about product photography. I basically held some floodlights that I found in the office up over a white piece of, what are those things called that you stick on the wall, like the display boards?
Yeah.
And took some photos and they turned out okay.
Nice.
So I used those as mock-ups and started selling these cards. I also found some jewelry in a drawer because my mum has a silver jewelry store. And I added them to the cards and was like, here's a card and some jewelry at the same time. And I think I'd only found like maybe 25 pieces of cards. So at some point I had to buy some more. And then I was like, I better get them recycled to make them really eco-friendly, because I actually really don't like greetings cards. I find them really wasteful because they go in the bin. So I was like, I'm going to make them as eco-friendly as possible. So started sourcing all this stuff. And then the packaging came next. So I started sourcing biodegradable packaging. And
sorry to interrupt you there, but this is now, at this point, was it a B2B business, or this is just...
This was still B2C, like
this. So you're just looking for, I suppose, your own solution because your own packaging wasn't eco-friendly.
Yeah. So that what was on the market wasn't available. And then I think after I quit, I think it was after I quit my full-time job and then was doing this, I was pregnant, had 2 kids under 6 on my own all the time. The 3rd one was born. And then it started sort of really taking off because Amazon took quite a long time to start taking off. I think it took me about 3 or 4 months to really get it moving.
Okay. And why did you move to Amazon from Etsy?
Because somebody who you know, Sam at Manta Makes, told me to start doing it. And she was giving me like a little bit of guidance, and it's just like, it's not quick to get off the ground. You have to put the hours in. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock and do an hour of admin on Etsy and Amazon with SEO and everything. And then all of a sudden I started seeing it moving. So I started needing stuff in larger quantities.
And you're selling on Amazon handmade, right? Which is a relatively new, it's only like a year or so old, right?
Yeah.
Most people that I would speak to would be like Amazon FBA sellers. They might go to China, buy 1,000 spatulas and sell them. You're actually selling handmade products. So does that mean you're having to you yourself hand make them, or have you got the kids involved on a little factory line?
I mean, you'd think that children with really small fingers would be ideal, but they're not. They are not. And then they want to get paid. I'm currently paying my 8-year-old 1 penny per sticker 1 penny per barcode that he sticks on.
Nice.
But I mean, like, I think last month we did nearly 1,000 units. So, I mean, like he's going to earn his keep eventually.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so that, and I think that's how it started moving, was the velocity from Amazon, which I didn't expect. In addition, I have, I carried on the silver jewelry, but that's not a big part of the business. It's quite small. I actually use my mum's supplier in Thailand. Nice. And that sort of just ticks over. And that's another part of where the packaging started coming from. Because originally I was using glassine to package it in. And so I was needing it in larger and larger quantities. And then when I needed the larger quantities, but couldn't afford the larger quantities, I bought my first large quantity and split some out to sell. And then found that they moved quite quickly.
And how did you then find, I suppose, those businesses to actually sell to? I mean, it seems pretty mad. Like you're kind of doing all this different stuff. Like most people I wouldn't know where to start if I had to start selling packaging to businesses. So
I first found my first supplier on eBay.
Okay.
And then went direct to them. And then the quantities were getting larger. And then one day he sent me a case pack and it had the manufacturer's barcode on it.
Rookie error. Yeah.
So I spent 3 months tracking down the manufacturer. I mean, like I worked hard. I devoted hours a day to finding them. And when I found them, I went to them and found out he wasn't making very much off of me. And then I had to end the relationship, which was hard. That was my first time I had to end a business relationship with someone. But I was straight out up front.
Yeah.
And basically said, I have found this person. Can you match their prices? I also, before I spoke to this supplier, found out that is indeed where it was coming from. So I basically found the factory.
There was nothing he or she can do then, right? Because
no, I mean, like I found the factory and went direct to the factory.
Did you tell them that you found out because they made a mistake?
No.
That might have been nice though, because then they could learn. No.
I was about to keep that one quiet.
So you found this supplier, but what I guess I don't get is you're buying in like a large quantity. Were you taking the risk? Did you know that you would be able to sell it to other sellers? When I took the time to start looking, I knew that the opportunity was there, and I wanted to move this specific product to Amazon as well. Not to handmade, but to marketplace. Part of the product also goes into some handmade products. So, and I'm also using it myself. So the risk factor has been split because I'm using the same product for 3 different things. And what is it? So is it card? Is it wrapping
paper?
It's
glassine,
okay.
Which is a type of paper. It's what's it? PEFC. It's like Program for Forest Endorsement Council or something, registered. So basically it's sustainable. It unfortunately comes from Germany.
Okay.
Which I have found has been quite an issue this year.
And is that because the type of tree that produces it can only be grown there?
I think I've also actually found with the recycled so a lot of my stuff, my recycled paper is 100% recycled from post-consumer waste of UK content, but there is a certain amount that is EU origin because obviously they've got the space for the recycling plants. They've got more waste. So that's been quite a large issue to cover. But yeah, this it comes in and it's processed in a type of way that makes it waxy. So it's ideal for storing like, I think originally it was a chip paper. So people can use it for a variety of things like wax melt sellers love it because it doesn't absorb the scent. I think you can use cakes and cookies and sweets and stuff like that. But it's biodegradable and recyclable and compostable. So yeah, it fits into that. And then I also have now a clear range, which is made from vegetable starch. It's like a cellophane. It's an eco-friendly cellophane, but it degrades in landfill and on the way to Australia when sent with Royal Mail. So it definitely degrades. It definitely degrades in landfill.
How did you find out about that?
When I had a customer last summer, I think it was, and it took 30 days to get to Australia. When it arrived, it was partially degraded.
Wow. Okay.
Because I think it must have sat on the tarmac somewhere warm, like maybe Asia somewhere, or even in a warehouse. It's dark, in a dark box. It's warm and it's humid, which is all the things that it needs to degrade.
Oh, wow. Did it ruin the product that was within it then? Is that?
Yeah, but the customer did come back, and the customer paid for UPS shipping and also tripled her order. Wow.
Okay. That's good.
So
that's really good.
Yeah, and I think she comes back now quite often. I think she comes back once a quarter now. And
so that would be a B2B customer, right? So they're buying your product in bulk and using it to package their product.
To package their own product, yeah.
Okay.
And also because Australia have now a new law that just came in to basically distinguish the different kinds of packaging, where a lot of people say that stuff is compostable. It can only be industrially composted, whereas mine will degrade in landfill conditions, and it will degrade obviously on the way to Australia.
Yeah, it's quite a good way of selling it, isn't it? Degrades halfway there that time. Does how do these people then find you? Is it all through Amazon, or have you, as a web developer, sorted out like SEO? Sorry.
It's through Etsy a lot of the time, or Amazon. Yeah, I think quite a few come from Amazon, but my website, I think, was converting at 13.9%, and I launched it on the 4th of January.
This year? Just 2021. Wow.
Yeah. That's why I rebuilt it again, because Google wasn't scraping it properly. And I think now we're up to about 20% conversion.
Wow. That's really good.
So
these people are coming on, finding the website and just buying it. And you're saying they're all around the world rather than just in the UK.
Yeah, I've got quite a few American customers for glassine, the paper, because in America, it looks like I am the only one who has a peel and self-seal at the moment.
Is that, what's to stop them, I suppose, finding your supplier, aside from you not making the same mistake that your...
My supplier doesn't ship to America.
Oh, wow, okay. What? And
they know that I do.
Okay.
And I think my supplier doesn't ship to Europe anymore either, and they know that I do.
Right. Okay. Why does the supplier? Have you asked the supplier why they don't? Have you just got like sole distribution rights?
No, I think it's a Brexit issue. I think it's too much admin for them when they've got enough work as it is. Probably because I'm making it for them.
But so they don't ship to the UK.
No, so they do. So my supplier is in the UK, but the raw pulp comes from Germany on the glassine.
Oh, I see. So they don't ship to the EU, but you do.
Yeah, so they don't ship it back out anymore. They were last year, but they've halted that. And I'm not actually shipping to the EU other than through my own website.
Okay, cool. And to go back to the beginning there, with your cards that you started, these folded pieces of paper, where were you getting the designs from? Were you actually doing them yourself?
I'm doing them myself, yeah.
Wow. So you've got quite a lot of skills then. You can design a website, source all these products, raise all your kids at the same time.
It's called Asian. It's called being Asian. I actually made a little button badge. It's very niche, but it says Asian AF. And not that many people have bought it. Mainly me. And
what, I suppose, what's the process for actually making one of those designs? Is it something, do you just think, oh, this will be cool? Or is there like, oh, Valentine's Day is coming up, we're going to make a load of Valentine's Day designs?
So the wedding one, which is the sort of like most stable one, was I just designed a nicer sticker than everyone else had. And then created the kit using these two products, the glassine or the clear. And then after making one kit, I made another sticker and then another one and another one. And then with the handmade side, the handmade business side of it, so a lot of the B2B customers were already buying from me. So I was like, well, I'll make them a handmade. It says, I think it says handmade with love, and then their business name gets added underneath. And it's a simple personalization, but then they feel like they're getting the personalized service as well. And then they can get all their products in the same place from me.
Wow, that's cool. How have you found scaling that? I mean, it might only be a simple personalization, but that must involve still involve effort on your end, right?
It's quite difficult. I like to ship in one business day.
Whoa.
This year I found that my cap is 100 in a day.
Is that 100 cards?
Units. 100 units in a day is my cap. I've had to pre-prepare stuff now. So because the kits come in quantities of 35, 70, 105, whatever. So part of the kit is pre-prepared. I assign certain hours in the day to do the personalized. I've added things like paid for upgrades to jump the queue. Because so many people are like, oh, I'm in a hurry. Well, pay the upgrade.
Probably men who have forgotten
They have been very good though. I never have an issue from a man because they just pay the upgrade. Yeah. Over Valentine's Day, I have to say that most of my cards went to men, and most of them all paid upgrades, and they all ordered early as well, a week in advance.
Well trained.
Yeah. Or just didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, no, I think that would be me in that camp there.
It's not been easy to scale. The volume this year, obviously I'm going to move into a unit on the 1st of April.
Yeah, so you told me about that before we started recording. So you're moving into a unit, and currently there's a cargo ship container shortage in the world, and you said you're the cause of it.
Well, I think all the hipsters are the cause of it in Hackney. We are all moving into containers that cost a lot less than a month. So if you ship from China in a month, it's going to cost you substantially less to just work in one for a month. It's substantially cheaper. I mean, I think we're looking at the old day rates here.
Wow. And is that, so you're moving in there, like it's going to be your office, right? And I mean,
yeah, so I've got two at the moment. One's going to be on the ground floor for pallets in.
Yeah.
And then because they didn't have space to have them side by side, the second is on the second floor where I think production is going to happen. Okay.
Now, I run past that, like I said, kind of every day. Containerville that you're moving into, to me, it looks like it was more of a, similar to Box Park. Like you just have lots of little businesses working there, maybe people coming and eating food. Are you saying that you're using it for storage, or you're actually producing? I am going to use it for storage in one, and I'm going to produce in the other, because Del Boy would be proud of my living room. I was actually going to build at the front, a little showcase with his bar. I found it on eBay already. It's £350, the little white round bar, and have that as my showcase at the front. And then I thought if I ever exhibited, I could move the whole thing to the exhibition stand. That's cool. You'll definitely have, I think, your neighbours when you move in kind of knocking, coming for a drink. Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, it's again a bit of a joke, because like as you can see, like you even said that like you're selling quite a few products and you made quite a few things. It's again a bit of a joke. Like everyone, I say to my accountability partners all the time, this time next year, Rodney, because actually, and it keeps happening. And I think it's always going to be an in-joke, just like having Del Boy's living room recreated at the front of the container. But it seems like it's quite serious. It's like a serious joke now. You've got, I mean, to be moving in, although they're containers, it's still serious, right? Like you're physically moving out. You're not working from your living room. No, I'm not. And James and I have been talking, my partner, have been talking about him potentially making the leap to come and join me. Because we have 3 kids, they're 8 and under. So childcare does have to be split. We have no childcare for the youngest at the moment since COVID. Yeah.
So yeah, at some point the leap is going to have to get made.
Yeah. Would what would that I suppose look like? Like would it just be while one works the other doesn't? Because I feel like then you'll be crossing in the night, right? If someone's always got to look after the kids.
So I think we'd partially work similar hours. I mean, I always wake up at 5 a.m. and work preset because the kids get up around 5 or 6, but I let them watch TV whilst I work. And then come 7, it's the school routine. And we've got 2 kids split currently. So it's 6 miles on foot a day.
Wow.
And one starts at 8:35 and the other starts at 8:55, 1.3 miles apart. So nothing can go wrong.
Blimey, that is, that's tight.
So we will split. I think we'll split the shifts probably, or even if he doesn't come to work for me, my shifts I think I'll have to work shifts. So
with the business, would you ever think about actually getting, I suppose, a team together to actually work on it rather than doing everything yourself?
That's the goal. That's why I'm moving out, is to get a team to work on it, because I've got space here that a team could come in, but the lines of employment, I think, become a little bit blurred when you start allowing people into the space that you live.
Yeah.
And you can't detach yourself from the business, because with handmade businesses, there's this whole, I do a happy dance type of thing. But actually, that's not the reality. You need to start stepping back from the business. You need to have distance to think about the business and how to grow the business. And the only way for me to grow this business to the point that I want it to be is to move it out the house and to be able to get other staff members in so it can run when I'm not there and keep the units up.
And what are you, who are you going to hire first in that sort of, because it sounds like there's a few roles that you've got there. You've got the barcode sticker, the designer. I imagine you'll need some sort of hustler to do the B2B stuff. I
mean, I'm going to call it a studio assistant, to basically prep all the products, because all the products need to be prepped. The volume that they're moving at is so high that I need to do that, and then I need to sort of start streamlining the stuff that I have so that someone else can pick and pack it. Because the problem is when you start as a handmade business, you don't know anything. You don't know what the SKUs mean and why you'd use them. And now I'm like, I wish I'd started using them, because I can't change them now on Amazon. So now I'm having to put stuff in the title or change products so that they're more obvious. And I think me relying on my picker packer knowing that 105 is 3 kits of 35. Not that many people I don't think have the math skills to quickly go, oh, right, okay, so 60, if I need 60 of those, I need this, 4 packs of 15.
Mm.
And I can't rely on them knowing that. And I can't just put it up on a wall and for them not to get it wrong. It has to be smooth.
Yeah. Would with the SKUs quickly, how come you can't change those? I think
so on Amazon they're fixed.
You might find that if you re-add the product, you can add the same product twice.
Yeah, in handmade you can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on handmade you can't do that.
Ah, that's
because I've started actually moving some of my products outside of handmade. I brand registered for the enhanced content, and so now I'm starting to think about any product that I want to introduce to the US. Eventually, I'm introducing it to Marketplace, even though it's a handmade product, because then when I go to the US, I've got a product that has already got reviews. Oh, whereas with handmade, when you pull them over, they don't. You have to rank them all over again.
I see, because it's handmade, they see every single one as a unique listing, because you can't sell 2 of the same. Yeah, that makes sense.
And there's no GTINs on them or anything, so you can't even pull them over that way. You can't there's no multiple fulfillment options, because on Marketplace I offer the same product, small and light, and fulfilled by Amazon, and then I've got a separate one for the merchant one. when it falls out of stock, which it shouldn't, but it does.
With your greetings cards, what's the sort of life cycle on them? Like, do they, once you get one ranked on handmade, does it stay up there, or do you have to keep kind of innovating? Because I imagine that there must be loads of people that do like greetings cards on there, and that could scale quite quickly, right? Because all you needed is a design.
Some tick over. I have one that used to tick over really nicely at like 100 units a month. It says fancy getting married. Fancy getting married later. And that just ticks over really nicely. But obviously with the lack, I've had a couple of people, like a couple of nice reviews where people are sending them to their partners on the day they were supposed to get married, where it's been cancelled, which has been quite nice. But you can get some generic ones that will stay and will always perform well.
Yeah.
But I guess at some point, people are going to get bored of it. But I mean, like, there's a lot of people who shop on Amazon, so 100 units a month, that's there's a lot of life in that.
Yeah, completely.
And then every time I see something going at 100 units a month, I'm like, how can I make this 200 units a month? Because actually ranking one product and then ranking it well and making it better is much better than constantly having to redesign new products. Because sometimes you can get lucky, which is what I did with this collection, this most previous collection, the 1-star folded pieces of paper. Was I did a whole collection, and then even if I think it was like 12 of them, maybe 15, but if only 2 or 3 of those rank and stay ranked, then that's fine and I can move on.
And is that because if 3 of them stay ranked, people will kind of cross-pollinate and buy the other ones in the collection, or is it just that 3 of stay ranked, so that's
I think they just keep going because they're ranking well, so people keep seeing them. I mean, that's my theory anyway. And I took that fancy getting married later card to America. It was a lot harder than I thought because there's language barriers in America.
Yeah.
Even though it's an English speaking country, they have a lot of nuances that I didn't understand and didn't realize existed. So ranking things wasn't as easy as expected. So I drove my traffic from Etsy, and in all my Etsy listings, I had a big banner that said, "This is available on Amazon Prime for this much money."
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't think you're supposed to do that.
So it was less on Amazon Prime, is that right?
Yeah, it was much less. And obviously they don't have to wait the 15 days from the UK. It's there.
And were the fees, like, did you make more if someone sold on Etsy or if someone sold on Amazon? What?
Amazon, always Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Etsy is expensive. I think it's working out, like, if you're subject to off-site ad fees, which is mandatory for all sellers who've sold over 10,000, I think it is. I think it's 12% on top of all the other fees. It's an additional 12% if someone clicks the ad. And I think it's on the basket total. So if they click a cheap item to come in and then you've kind of upsold them, you get charged on that. And then if they're a returning customer and they return within 30 days, you get charged again.
As in, if returning customers if they come back and make another purchase, or if they send the product?
So if they're a returning customer and so if someone purchases, I don't know, like 50 of my glassine envelopes and they came in off an off-site ad fee, I'd get charged that extra 12% on top of all the other fees. And then they came back within that 30 days and then maybe went for 1,000, I would get charged again on that 1,000. So it's expensive. Etsy is very, very expensive. Amazon handmade is 12.4%, I think it is. Yeah, 12.4%. And it's just transparent.
Yeah.
That's the MFN, the manufacturer network one. So if it's not on Prime.
With the glassine.
Sorry, I'm just going to grab a charger.
No, definitely. With your glassine products that you sell, you mentioned that they're on handmade. Are they?
So those are on Marketplace.
Okay. So they're not actually, I was going to say, how are they actually, can they be categorized there if they're not kind of personalized.
So they're on marketplace, but on handmade they are sold in a kit. So 35 stickers and 35 envelopes, because it's the upsell.
Okay, so you're selling essentially packs of envelopes and stickers.
And the handmade sticker together, but because the sticker is handmade, it can be a handmade product.
Oh, I see. So if I'm, Joe Cox handmade cards, I would buy from you, even though you're a handmade card seller. I'd buy your packaging and send my cards because it would have the stamp of handmade by Joe Cox. But actually it wasn't, or they still selling their own, they'll be selling their own prints, right?
Yeah, so they put their own product inside.
Okay. That's cool. I can see why they would use that. How do they just find you then through Etsy? So
yeah, Etsy or Amazon. I just launched a new product, which is the logos. So people can send their logo in and I'll print it on a sheet of stickers. It's still handmade because I manufactured it here.
Could they circumvent all of that and approach you directly and place an order?
Some people do, but I've actually stopped allowing that because of order management.
Right.
I did actually for a while only do custom orders the order had to be placed and paid on the Friday, and they'd get done on the Saturday and the Sunday. But I've stopped that now, and I'm only the volume's just too high now.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting. Sounds crazy. I think it's safe to say you do quite a lot. How do you know what to do each day? Like, how do you?
I have a bullet journal.
You have a bullet journal, okay. But
it's not like that. It's not like where you calligraphy the bit. It's literally just lists. It's just straight lists. I like to track things. I have very set times to do things. I started reading.
do you need to go and save someone there?
No. I think her tablet. I think Peppa Pig's gone. I have really set times to do things. In the morning, I'm only allowed to do admin, and I try and do listings in the morning, work on SEO. So that's from sort of 5:30 till 7.
Yeah.
Then school run. Then I come back and I do the orders. In the afternoon is customized stickers just before the post arrives at 3:30 when I'm on the school run.
Wow. So you is it fair to say you essentially batch your time and then focus?
And it has to be whatever task it was. I try and do another hour and a half between 6 and 7:30. By 7:30, it's the cutoff. And I try and I actually stopped week time drinking because of this.
During lockdown, or?
During lockdown, I stopped week time drinking, and anyone who knows me knows I was an avid advocate of having an afternoon drink or breakfast wine.
Never heard it called that before.
Bloody Marys are good for you as well because they're actually, if you put horseradish and a stick of celery, that's like 3 or 5 a day. It's a smoothie. It's basically a smoothie.
Sounds like you've said that a few times to convince people, like, no, it's okay. It's okay.
School runs.
How does your, I suppose, the actual setup look? Because say I wanted to sell on handmade, could I just print out any old card? Like, is that how you kind of started it? Or do you actually have to have like an industrial, good quality printer?
I know a lot of handmade sellers use print houses. So they batch order their stuff. So they'll create a design and then they'll order like 10 to 20 or whatever of the design. I don't like doing that because it's an outlay for something you don't know you're going to sell. So I bought a printer, and I have recommendations for printers, which I use affiliate links for. But I always suggest printers, but that's only because I came from a print background. So I know how to prepare a PDF, and I know how to print a PDF, and I know what the colors are going to be like when they come out, and I know how to fix issues. So yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on how big you want your margin to be.
Okay. Sounds like you could also potentially then be a service provider for people that want to do handmade printed. They do the designs.
I might do that.
Add an extra thing to your list.
I did do that, and I do that for some people. I have, I think, maybe 5 people that I do it for, but I haven't taken any more clients. And when people ask, I say no now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have done that for people.
It sounds like you'll move into the into Containerville and slowly take over, like each container slowly one by one. Yeah.
Well, I think I worked out that by the time I have 5, I have to leave because it'd be cheaper to leave.
How much is a container per month out of interest?
1,000.
Oh wow, okay.
It's all bills in,
okay,
and it's under the rate.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. And how big is a container? I'm trying to.
40 foot.
Okay.
It's substantial.
Yeah.
For London, anyway. Because I think I was looking, and it was expensive for a unit. And the other thing about the containers is I've already spotted 3 other sellers who might need some eco packaging.
Oh, in the container park. That's cool.
Yeah, I was going to introduce myself with donuts.
Very nice. Very shrewd.
But yeah, and also, like, I think being with other businesses that aren't in the same line, I find you can often learn more from other businesses that don't do what you do, because it's another way of looking at business. Because at the end of the day, business is business, isn't it? It doesn't matter what you're doing. There's a bottom line, and that's that. And I think the handmade one, it's not the most healthy industry to be in. People don't understand the difference between profit margin and percentage markup.
Would you like to quickly explain the difference? Put you on the spot there.
Well, so I think I tried to explain it to somebody once, where I think she bought a product for like 70p or something, and she was going to sell it for like £3, because obviously she thought the markup.
Was that a sale there that just nice.
I thought they were off. But yeah, so she thought that was how much money she was going to walk away with. But so that's the markup. But then I tried to explain, from that you have to pay your fees, you have your time, you have the packaging that goes on top. Because a lot of people don't take that into account, is that they've got this product, but you have to package it. So I always, like, if it costs less than a penny, I round it up to a penny. Mm-hmm. And I take it in, like, down to the packing slip. Like, I have factored that in to my profit margin.
Yeah, into your cost of goods sold.
Yeah, so I have a spreadsheet, and like to keep everything within a set limit. I subscribe to the profit first thing. So
yeah,
which has actually helped a lot actually since I moved to the container, because I think I worked it out that basically it's 8% of
your OPEX or
or my I think, because I work on the disbursement figure and not my turnover.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So in theory, it's slightly, I'm kind of saving more or putting aside more than you should, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you have a system, I think it doesn't really.
Yeah, I mean, the system has helped so much to balance everything out and to make sure that you're making enough money every month. Because as soon as your salary bill goes down, salary starts dwindling, you're like, right, I need to do something.
Yeah, yeah.
Although the VAT shock, as you know, when I came to you with the VAT shock,
yeah,
was quite tough. And I actually spoke to someone 2 weeks ago on a small business collaborative about the VAT thing and that small gap that nobody tells you about between 80 to 120, where it disappears.
Are you talking about, what do you mean between 80 and 120, where?
So where your turnover has reached 80, and then before that, you've obviously got more for your salary, haven't you? Because you're not losing that bit.
Yeah.
And then there's that. I think I worked it out to when you get back to 120, 130, you've stabilized yourself back to where you were when you hit that. I think.
So you're saying that because VAT takes up a big chunk of your margin, effectively from your sales price, it's like 16% of the total amount, that actually you need to earn that extra to be reset. Yeah.
Yeah, which is part of the profit, the margin and the markup thing that I was trying to explain to people. And a lot of these sellers also were like, I'm going to sell it at the same price, X VAT. But when you're a small seller, that's the bonus, isn't it? That you're a small seller. Yeah. And that's to help you get to that point. And then I've been telling people who are getting to that point is 3 months before you hit, start putting that away now. So that when you hit in 3 months, because that 3 months before you hit, that's when the optimum amount of money comes in for your salary. But if you're not taking that out, you're used to this nice salary that you've now lost because the VAT element has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. If you went back and did the whole thing again, what would you do differently? What would you remove from all of this?
Well, I know one thing I've told everybody that I'll do differently is I would have signed up with you the first time that I spoke to you.
You've not been sponsored to say that.
No, I'm not. And there's no affiliate links because you don't give affiliate links.
Sadly not.
Although I think you should, because, you know.
It's not that we would be against giving people referral, like anything for referring clients. It's more like how do we implement tracking it for accounting and stuff.
I have a very good plugin for that.
Oh, okay. We can talk about that after.
Yeah. But actually it would be the most important thing is having your accounts in line and understanding the profit margin and the percentage markup. Because I think I see a lot of people selling greetings cards, and obviously I know how much I'm buying everything for, and I see the volume that they're moving it at, and I'm like, how are you making any money? How are you making any money? Because I know where you print at as well. And I went to a very popular one that people use to work it out. And it's still cheaper for me to print and hire someone and have it all in-house than it is to go to them. And I don't understand how they can sell it for the money that they're selling it for.
I think a lot of people are kind of sold the dream, aren't they? They go on YouTube, how to make money online, and then actually they're trying to make something that doesn't involve them rather than doing the hard work. And actually, because they'd be like, oh, but I just want to make money. I don't want to actually make a business. So yeah, you would change accountants.
I would have accounting as one of the first things. Even if I had an accountant that was advising me and hands off, making sure I did it correctly. It's been,
yeah.
I think I've spent more by not doing it properly. It's the biggest mistake that I made, was not having a specialist e-commerce accountant at the start.
Well, I think it's as well really key what you said about the actual thinking about your pricing of the product. Because if you price it wrong, especially when you've got VAT, Amazon or Etsy fees, all these different fees, if you're not profitable and you start selling loads, it's not just the case that you've got like fixed costs where you're losing a certain amount of money. The amount of money, the profit per unit, like it can be really bad.
Yeah.
And people who aren't looking, like I've seen it before where people don't realize for 6 months, it might be one product of 12 that they sell, but that one product just
bring everything down. And because I think I'm quite cautious anyway about expansion. Like I didn't really want to take a unit now. My plan was September, but when the volume got so high and I couldn't detach myself from the business because it was at home, I realized that I could be more profitable by spending that money now on moving it out the house. And I guess that's the only thing that I've made a mistake with is my accounting. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, yeah. No, we don't give referral links. So, yeah. Going back to that not the first sale, but that first 1-star review. What actually was the product? I'll get the actual link and probably the review off off of you, but
I'll send the actual product.
Were they justified?
I mean, like, no, because there was a little gold heart on it, so it wasn't just printed. I mean, like, I think I've got some of the best reviews. Like, I have an 8mm earring, which is actually in my nose now. Sorry. She's dancing. And someone said it was too small for humans. And like a lot of the 1-star reviews are, it's tiny. Yeah, 8mm is tiny, but it still sells.
Yeah.
Some of the bad reviews are, you know, what makes you. And also, like, I do know that some bad reviews, it's a way to improve your listings.
Yeah, well, by default, I feel like they're a really good selling opportunity, because if you can respond to it well, people are always going to look at the 1-star reviews. They don't care about the 3-star or the 4-star. Like, they'll be like, let's look at the 1-star. And if you can deal with it well and the person seems unreasonable, I feel like you've got a better chance. Like, I think we've got one woman who left 2. She was an absolute pain, but she left a 1-star review and then came back later and left another 1-star review. And we were like, you can't, like, anyway, that, you know, and everybody then that kind of signs up and mention it is like, oh, I saw that 1-star review. Like, great response. Like, she seemed like she was crazy. And it's like, she was, but you know.
Because like now that folded piece of paper is a strap line on like, and that's what I use it. Like, you know, your elevator pitch. When people ask, that's what I say I do.
What is that then? I sell folded pieces of paper?
Folded pieces of paper with print on them. I added 100% recycled to make it sound more hipster.
You will fit in I was about to say Box Park in Containerville.
They've got quite a few breweries in there, so. Yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to come and check it out, I think.
Yeah, you are.
You have your launch party.
If we're allowed parties.
Final question. How long did it take you before starting on Etsy to actually making that first sale?
I think it was like 2 or 3 months. Oh, she's painted her nails. I think she's trying to show you her nails.
Oh, lovely.
I think it was 2 or 3 months, because when I did it, I didn't really know what I was doing. And it was an organic sale as well.
Yeah.
And it was because I started in the November, and then thinking, obviously, oh, it's Christmas. Obviously, just put my stuff online, people will buy it. And then they didn't. And then I forgot about it. And then I found an email that said that I'd sold something. I was like, what?
Oh, okay. And so that was then before you had the cha-ching.
Yeah. Well, or I didn't know what it was. And I was like, what? What is this? So yeah, and that's how I think that's how it started. And like I was an eBay seller a little bit before that.
Yeah.
And I think I'd run out of things to sell, basically. So like, I think because you can get addicted, can't you, to online selling? It's quite an addictive thing.
That feeling of like, yes, I just sold something.
Yeah, the noise, the little ka-chings. And it's funny because my mum has a store. She has a bricks and mortar store. And she had originally, I think she had 3 jewelry stores and a restaurant when I was a kid. So
3 what? Sorry, 3 stores and a
jewelry stores.
Wow.
And a restaurant when I was a kid. Spike Milligan used to eat in her restaurant.
That's quite impressive. She had 3 stores, 3 bricks and mortar stores, and the restaurant. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree then, in terms of how busy she keeps herself.
And my dad was a advertising man for Ogilvy and Mather originally. So it doesn't fall too far from the tree at all.
That's amazing. Taz, I can see you've got your hands full, and it's been about an hour, so I better let you go back to your other full-time job. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
That's okay. Is there any sort of imparting hipster wisdom you'd like to leave on the world of YouTube?
Get a good accountant, not sponsored.
Brilliant. All right then, Taz. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it. That's the end of the episode. I really hope you enjoyed my conversation with Taz. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like. Also, if you're looking for a supplier for eco-friendly packaging, definitely give Taz a shout. We'll put her website below.